All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another new episode of A Whole New World with me, your host, Jacob New, where we're here to put a spotlight on positive things happening in the community and developing that positive mindset. So, we are very fortunate to have Mr. Alphy Jurarim here today. But before we get an official introduction, it is time for everybody's favorite part of the week, the dad joke of the week. So, what did the digital clock say to the grandfather clock? Look, Grandpa, no hands. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, I like it. Get it? Because digital, they don't have hands; they just have the numbers.
Exactly.
The younger generations, yeah, younger generations like what are hands on a clock? So, all right. So we have Mr. Alphy Jurarim here today. So thank you for being with us. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I am joyful.
Good. I like that response. I love it. So tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, so our audience can get to know you a little bit better.
First of all, I would like to say thank you, Jacob, for inviting me to this A New World. You are creating a new world here, trying to showcase positive things that are happening actually in our community. So again, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
As you said earlier, my name is Alphy Jurarim. I am from the Gambia, West Africa. Relocated to the U.S. in the late 90s and did my education here.
And did you come here for the education then?
Yes, I came here for my education. And studied complete, and life becomes good in the U.S. Start my career, start family now, and before that, started this non-profit organization called J.O.Y.E.
Okay.
Helping underprivileged children, trying to give back to the community where I'm from, the community that actually raised me up, but also looking within the community that I lived here, who are providing me the support and also giving back to them. So I feel like there's a lot of power in giving back, which can be tied back to the power of positive thinking, because you have to be 100%. Thinking positive to be able to think about giving back. So there's a lot of power in that.
Yes, 100%. I agree with everything that you're saying. So many things I want to talk about, but first let's go ahead and talk about J.O.Y.E. What is J.O.Y.E, your organization? Tell us a little bit about that.
J.O.Y.E is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's established and registered here in Texas. We've been in existence since 2011, and we do a lot of work locally, but we do a lot of work also in Africa.
Okay.
So our focus is basically in education, but in reviewing our education assistance that we are providing to our underprivileged children, we realize that we need to take a holistic approach to education, which is not only
just the materials.
For example, in Africa, in some of the communities that we sponsor children at, they don't have access to clean drinking water.
Yeah.
Some of those kids, they go to school hungry. So we look at it and say, we are not just going to sponsor these kids with the education material, but we need to go beyond that, which is try to bring clean water to these communities, and trying to also not only clean water, but ensuring that those kids, when they go to school, they're not going hungry, or
they have the food. Yeah.
Exactly. So those are some of the other elements that we focus on when I say holistic approach of education. As compared to here, some of the kids that we sponsor here with education is not necessarily, it's not the same as what we do in Africa, because here education, you don't really have to pay to go to school. But some of these kids, they're really needy because they have some similar situations as some of the kids over there. They may not have the necessary basic daily needs as far as hygiene products, clothing, and things of that nature, or even food. So we play a role in providing some prepared meals to some of the local students here.
Okay, that is amazing, and I think it's something that not all of us realize, though. With me being I don't know if I told you this, but my background's in education. That so there's so many children that go to school, like even here in the U.S., that are hungry. They don't have food for various reasons, whether it's not their parents can't afford it or well, actually, that's the main reason. I mean, but I mean, and it doesn't matter poor or rich. It's a common thing that I have noticed is because just because some people live in like the rich side of town, sometimes they have that. I heard this term yesterday. I really liked it, but their house broke. They spent all their money on their house and for this appearance of this money, but then they can't afford like the basic things. And so I really love what you're doing because it's so hard for students to focus when they're hungry, when they don't have that hygiene. They know they smell different, they look a little bit different, they don't have the materials that other students do. And so I think it's just so great what you're doing here, both here in the U.S. and in Gambia. Yes. The Gambia or just Gambia?
The Gambia.
Okay. So what kind of got you started on this, though?
Thank you for asking. Yeah. And that's a great question because I think that every individual don't just sometimes get up and start doing something.
No.
So you have to be influenced, one, right? And number two, maybe you have an exposure to certain things that makes you realize that, hey, there's a problem area here that needs to be resolved, right?
Yes.
So in my situation, it's interesting because I was one of those kids.
Okay.
I've had people that I don't even know from nowhere that contributed towards my education. So as I complete my education, as I was going through the process of getting educated, one thing that never left my mind was the fact that there are kids that are still out there that just like me, when I was a kid, that still need similar help and they need a voice and they need a platform that advocate for them. With that in mind, that's brought about the birth of J.O.Y.E. J.O.Y.E, as I said, as an organization, our main goal is to ensure that these needy kids have one simple thing, opportunity. So that's why our mission is to enable young people to reach their full potential and to become a productive, caring citizens. Because I believe that if those individuals that contributed towards my education have never done so, I don't believe that I will be where I am today. All the dreams and aspirations that I've had as a kid growing up would have never been able to materialize today. But that's one thing that I believe that, if everybody join hands and think alike in the same manner and try to give back, which we all agree is something positive and is good for the soul as well. It makes you feel satisfied when you're doing and helping somebody. Oh, yeah. So I believe that that was the right approach to take, and that's why I started J.O.Y.E.
Man, I love it. Just the whole idea. One, because we all have so much potential within us. I'm a firm believer that every one of us has the potential to do something great and to do big things in the community and the world. Now, not all of us realize that and work through it, but the other part about that I love is that because somebody else was generous and gave, it's instilled that giving spirit within you. So it's giving just keeps on giving,
Exactly.
And so by just you giving, and there's many different ways, that you can give, but here we're talking about giving supplies, it sounds like. And
supplies, giving time, giving money, giving ideas. There's a lot of different ways that you can give. Because, at
100%.
J.O.Y.E, we are not only asking people to donate money. We're asking people to donate ideas. We're asking people to donate materials. We're asking people to donate their time to help us as an organization to where we can grow and scale it to where we can be able to help more people.
And that's the goal. I love it.
And one thing that I like most about the work that we do, which is in education, B.B. King said it best. The beautiful thing about learning is that one cannot take it away from you.
Mm-hmm.
This is one gift that you can give a child that no one can take away from them.
Amen. No, I agree 100%. And so that's basically your roots, is going through that, and because you got that education, like you said, nobody can take away what's in there. Yep. And for those you can't see, I pointed to my head. But giving people the opportunity and allowing them to go to school and focus, because you said, was it the holistic
approach to education?
Mm-hmm.
It's not only about the four corners in the classroom, right?
Exactly. It's not about textbooks, math.
Exactly. There's a lot of learning beyond the classroom. So, we have this thing that I call the 3 pillars of joy.
Okay.
So the 3 pillars of joy includes 1, education. Number 2, community development. And number 3 is the youth development piece of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in education, what we do today as an organization is we help bring education assistance to these needy children, ensure that they're able to stay in school, stay in class, and be able to attend to their curriculum that is being taught to them, right?
Yes.
But we realize also, like I keep going back to this holistic approach, we realize also that some of these kids, they're not even comfortable being in class.
No.
Because of the lack of hygiene product, especially for the women.
Mm-hmm.
We have kids that are in their teenage years and beyond. We notice that as we go through looking at their academic performance, we notice that some of the ladies, the young girls, they skip school a lot. And in revisiting that, to understand the root cause of that, we found out that when they're during the time of the month, they cannot go to school because they don't have the necessary hygiene products. So we start including that as part of our sponsorship program. We also noticed that some kids here in the U.S., during the winter, they don't have
jackets.
Yeah. So we include that as part of our education assistance program. So it's not just only the materials.
Mm-hmm.
So for community development, in some of these communities, the parents don't have enough funding to be able to provide food, but also even to grow what they eat. So we brought in the seeding program, which we provide to the parents so that they can go and grow as part of agriculture.
Yes.
To grow food. This is in Africa. But here, we also provide the prepaid meal plans by providing gift cards and things of that nature to these grocery stores where parents can also go and pick up groceries so that they can have warm food at home for their kids.
That's important.
Exactly. Over there, what we do is we have what they call the food program in some schools. So we ensure that our students that are benefiting from our program, we are paying for their feeding program so they can get fed when they're in school.
So not only are you teaching them how to kind of like cultivate and grow food, but you're also so the school provides food and for them as well.
Exactly.
Just making sure. Okay.
Yeah, the school, they have what they call a feeding program, where some schools they'll have lunch program. Kids, they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we will make sure that all our kids that are under our as beneficiary of J.O.Y.E are also
getting the food as well.
That food.
Okay.
And sometimes for some of those kids, that may be the only meal they eat in the day.
That's the truth, and that's not just there, but that's also here in America too.
Exactly.
So
and the youth development, because you need to also mentor them outside of the classroom, to grow them to be better leaders of tomorrow, so that you can continue, so that you can start. That's how you actually start shortening that cycle of poverty, because when they learn, they come out. You mentor them, you show them the ropes and show them how to go and make it out there.
Yeah.
Then that will help stimulate their minds to be able to be more entrepreneurial and know how to go about making for themselves, so that they stop that cycle of poverty from them, and then moving forward. And then hopefully, as leaders, they want to give back to the organization that actually propelled them to be able to be who they are today.
Yes, and I think just based on what you've said, and just based on the impact I believe that you're having on those children, I 100% believe that they will be giving back to that community as well. Just because I'm going to use your example again. I mean, people gave to you, and now you're giving back just because you've had that example.
Even if you have 1% of beneficiaries of J.O.Y.E, to be able to do the same thing, or give back to J.O.Y.E to ensure that people just like them benefit, will make a huge impact. Today, as an organization, we are actually we have over 300 students that are benefiting from our program.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, both in Africa and here locally combined. Over 2,500 families are benefiting from our program. 35 communities. I mean, that's a huge number.
That is a gigantic number.
Yeah, so just think about that. 1%.
Well, 1%, and I keep thinking all this is stemming from that one person giving you stuff, or the materials you needed growing up. And the amount of change that you're creating just from that one event, that 1%, is phenomenal. And I think that's something important for us too, whether we have a lot or we don't. There's many different ways to give, but just by giving, you can cause that chain reaction that will lead to something bigger.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If you even just get 1% of that 300,
yeah,
that would multiply another 900 students, and then you just keep, the multiply effect just keep taking effect.
And so, I'll say this before we go on break, but also when you give and people see you give, you inspire them to give as well. And so it's just one of those things that I feel I'm coming late to the game. I'm gonna be honest. I was not that much of a giver. I was one of those people. I was like, oh no, how am I gonna pay these bills? I mean, like, I was uptight. Money's always worried me, and so from that aspect, I am starting to give more, and it's because I've seen other people give, and I've seen how happy, how joyful it makes them, and so.
Give us that joyful people.
Yeah. So even if you're a person like me and just starting to get back in, get into it, I mean, just a little bit helps every now and again. So you can go a long way. So we're going to take a quick break. This is Jacob New with A Whole New World, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Jacob.
All right, welcome back everybody to A Whole New World with me, your host, Jacob New. As always, we're here to talk about the positive things happening in the community and developing that positive mindset. So we have Mr. Alphy. I always have to stutter on that. I'm like, wait, Jurarim?
Yes.
All right, here with us to talk about J.O.Y.E and what he's doing. And I don't know about you, but that music, doesn't it kind of make you feel like you're on an island or something? I'm like, yeah.
Yes, it does. It does.
So, so we've been talking about the importance of giving and how that can bring fulfillment. But I think another topic that I think is a very important aspect of this is talking about that worry. before we left, I talked about how I'd worry about like paying bills, and I believe that money's a big worry for a lot of people. But what you're doing through J.O.Y.E, I think, is so important, is that you're addressing the worry and of these students that, I don't want to stand out. Kids are worried about a lot of different things. Believe it or not, from my experience, they're worried about how they look, how are they going to fit in, do they smell good? I mean, their kids get embarrassed if they're embarrassed. They don't. But where's my next meal going to come from? And so, when you have all these thoughts going on and you're worried about what's coming next, it's impossible to focus, and it's impossible for you to reach your potential. So I really like what you're doing here with that. And so, but have you seen any, like, from your own personal experience, do you feel like this is, do you agree with that, or
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. And like I stated earlier, I was one of those children. Yeah. I remember how I used to worry about, not only about the school part of it, to be in school, but I'm worried about, getting my uniform right, that I don't want to wear a torn uniform to go to school. I want to make sure that when I go to school, that I fit in. So I may have 1 or 2 uniforms, but I'll make sure that every day I'm washing that uniform and it's clean, so that nobody can tell if I have only 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. I'm always looking clean.
Yeah.
So that has nothing to do even with me being able to pay my school fees. And then now I have to worry about being able to be in classroom, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm not there, then my friends will be thinking, where must he have, where is he at? Is he sick or something? And then the biggest worry that you have is you go sit in class and then you get told to go home.
Yeah.
Because you're among those that did not meet your financial responsibilities towards the establishment of the school.
Okay.
So you worry about all of that, and then you worry about when there is a feast, for example. Because where I'm from, we have a lot of feasts.
Yeah.
And we celebrate a lot. And
I'm down for celebrations.
Exactly. And you need new clothes.
Yes.
For all those events.
Okay.
So your parents also, they are pressed to make sure that, they cater to all your needs. So now they have to prioritize. So such type of gift, giving it to a child, you're not only giving it to a child, you're also giving it to the parents, because now they can spread their little fun that they have
just
much
elsewhere.
further than...
Man, I never even thought of that. That's crazy. Yeah.
So you are not only relieving that kid from worrying too much, but you're also relieving the family, which is healthy, because can you imagine even going to school and coming home and find your parents not too happy because now they give all the money that they have for you to go to school, and they cannot provide for you to eat. They cannot pay their rent.
That's a tough choice.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different, and can you also imagine some parents, listen to this one, they may have, let's say, 5 kids, and there are 4 girls and 1 boy in the family, right? And they can only afford to take one of the kids to school. And let's say if the boy is the youngest, so they would rather take the boy to school instead of the girls. But that thing is changing. But in the rural area where we operate, that's how
that's still how it is.
Yeah, I mean, so parents are still worrying about how to take care of their kids. So we come in and we help them, and we provide them some other aspects of helping them feed their kids through the seeding program that we have for agriculture.
Yeah. So
that kind of help relieve them and maybe we believe that also will create a happier home. Because now there's less stress, and the focus on financial responsibility has been reduced because of our stepping in and
taking off some of that pressure. Exactly. I like it.
So.
Yeah. That is amazing. So how often do you go over to Africa to Gambia?
I try to go at least once a year.
At least once a year.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing that?
8 years.
8 years? Okay.
Yeah, we started in 2011, and
that's a
March
good amount of
this
time.
Year, it's been 8 years since we've been in establishment.
All right. So how since the beginning, since when you started, have you noticed what changes have you noticed with your efforts? Like, how have you impacted the lives of those people?
I mean,
is it evident or?
It is very evident. We've graduated over 100 students.
Oh, that is amazing.
And out of those 100 students, we have several of them that actually went up to university.
Okay.
And actually last year, in the national exam of the entire country, in the top 5 students that performed, top 5 students, one of them was actually our student.
Okay, that is awesome.
Program. So that's one piece of it, right?
Yeah.
And then we have about 2,500 families that rely on us year in, year out to give them seeds so that they can grow vegetables and fruits
so they can
for their livelihood,
eat.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have kids that actually have gone outside of our program and they are actually trying to advance to a tertiary education, who still once in a while will come to us for help, even though we don't sponsor education beyond high school.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that it's having tremendous impact.
So
in the life of these kids and their families.
And I don't have the same frame of reference that you do, but before J.O.Y.E was going in there, what was typical for students? I mean, would you expect to still see 100 students graduate, or no?
I mean, I think you will still see some students graduate. The ones that are staying in school, the ones whose parents can afford, or the ones that may have sponsorship from other organizations.
Okay.
But the ones that we come into their aid, these are kids that probably 60% of them were being sent home almost every year.
Oh, wow.
And, because we got the records for it. And these were a concerted effort between our organization and the Ministry of Education and the Secretariat, which is another section of the Ministry of Education whom we work with, right?
Yes.
Locally here, I like the way they do it here, actually. Over there at their programs.
Okay.
So here, the students that actually benefit from our program, you rarely actually know them because they want to preserve the integrity of the students.
It's keep it anonymous.
Exactly. And they don't want other kids to know that these are the kids that benefit from these gifts that are brought to the school. So they do it in a nice way. Whereas over there,
you have more records.
Yeah, kids are sent home.
Okay.
And your friends will know that you are being sent home because you didn't pay for your school fees.
Oh, okay. So it's like really in your face.
Or you are being sent home because you don't have the right materials. Or, for whatever reason that you are being sent home to.
Yeah.
So working with the teachers, you will be able to identify those kids, that are consistently being sent home or that are coming from these families where these students are doing so well.
Okay.
But the parents cannot really take care of them.
Cool. That's amazing. And so I'm sure you've decreased that 60% down to.
We are playing our, we are taking care of our quota in areas that we can.
That is awesome.
With more funding, we can increase our sponsorship. But where we are right now, we are pleased with what we are doing. We know that a lot of kids are still reaching out and asking for help.
Yeah.
We pitch in wherever we can, and we get them added to our beneficiary list when we can.
I love it. So how people who are listening and they want to get involved, a couple of things. How can they get involved, and do you have any events coming up?
Yeah, so we have a website, which is www.giftofjoye.org.
Yes.
Where people can actually donate.
And that is linked in our show description for those of you listening out there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have, exactly. And then the way we fund our projects is 100% through donations.
Okay.
And most of our donors, I'll say like 99% of our donors are small individual donors. We don't really have much of what they call corporate sponsors or grants. Most of our donors, 99% of them are small individual donors. And this is all built up through the network of people that I know from work, social, and the likes, and the community that I live in. That's how we raise our funds. And we have 2 annual events. One, we just finished July 6th, which is called Miles for Joy, where we bring active people together to do running, walking, or play soccer. And then we have food sales, we have bounce house for kids and things like that. We raise funds there to support our projects. But our biggest event, our major fundraiser, our core one, which is coming up in November 9th.
November 9th, okay. Coming up soon.
At the Sheraton of McKinney. It starts at 6:30 p.m., where we have a big gala, bring together almost 200 people and showcase our work. We have food, live entertainment, and such to, for a great evening for people to, give back, but also enjoyment.
Okay. And do people need tickets for that?
There's tickets, and the website will soon be up where people can go in and make their purchase to reserve their seats or sponsor a table or sponsor the event or sponsor any part of the event as they wish.
Okay.
Or even sponsor a child, actually.
So you can?
Yeah, you can actually do it today on our website, but during our gala efforts, we encourage people to sponsor a child as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. So man, that about wraps it up on my end. So I just want to thank you again for everything that you're doing with J.O.Y.E and help making a difference. And for those of you listening out there, I wish you could be in here and just when Alphy's talking about just giving and knowing that his efforts, his just simple act of simple act of giving without asking for anything in return, you can just see the joy, just his eyes light up. It's amazing to see, and that's really where we're giving. Why you should give is because that'll words right now, guys. Words. Yeah. All right. What I'm trying to say is, through giving, that'll help you get your happiness, find your happiness, guys. Very rarely do you ever meet somebody that hoards all their money or hoards all their time. They hold themselves up and find them as happy as those who give freely. And so whether it's money, time, effort, skills, whatever you have to give, we just want to encourage that you give. So thank you for everybody listening in there. Any closing remarks, Mr. Alphy?
Yeah, I just would like to say again, thank you for having me. Really appreciate the time spent here. Mm-hmm. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk through your platform. You are definitely creating a new world out here. But I just would like to say to listeners out there, if you're listening now, or maybe if you're planning on listening later to this podcast, I would say that don't forget to come to our gala if you can. If you cannot, visit our website and give back. Today we are talking about the power of giving, and we believe that there's a lot of power in giving, and when you give, you become joyful. So give to J.O.Y.E, and I would also like to share that you were asking me about the kids, the impact.
Yes.
And we feel like there's certain things that we cannot control, and there's certain things that we cannot really get a full grasp on in making sure that these kids are developed to their full potential. So one of the things that we actually have in plan right now is we've always wanted to have our own school.
Yeah.
More like a boarding and off-boarding, where we can bring these kids in and monitor them and then see them through the various stages of their growth and development, so that we can ensure that they're fully equipped. So when they go out there, in the real world, they can participate in any space.
Give them the skills they need.
Giving the skills they need.
Yeah.
So that's another opportunity for people to give back to, if that's what they want to give back to.
Okay.
And to bring, to help us build this state-of-the-art facility that give these kids an opportunity to be able to lay their hands on all the different life skills that they can get, not only being in the classroom, but also vocational training as well.
Giving unlocks the potential of others.
Yes. And that's what J.O.Y.E is trying to do. And anybody that gives to J.O.Y.E, whether it's $1 or $5 or $10 or $1,000, you are unlocking opportunities. You are helping other people to realize their dreams.
Yes.
You are changing life of an individual, if not more. So giving is critical.
It
to
is.
all of us, because even if you are in a position of content right now, where you get everything that you have and you're amassing a lot of wealth, if you just think back even a day or two behind, you realize that somebody had helped you to get to where you are. And that's all you're doing. Instead of looking down at somebody, lift them up.
Exactly.
So when you give, you are lifting somebody up. So visit us at giftofjoy.org.
Yep.
And give and help lift somebody up.
I love it. So thank you everybody for tuning in. As one last quick message from me, if you are listening to this, please hit that follow and share button, please. We are trying to get the word out and help spread these positive vibes, everybody. So share it with your friend, your family, your aunt, the random guy down the street, whoever. We're trying to spread this positivity. Positivity is infectious, and we want to infect as many people as we can. So, and I need your help to do that so that we can reach as many people as we can. So thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another amazing episode of A Whole New World with me, your host, Jacob New. And as always, if you only learn to do one thing, learn to make a difference. Y'all have a good night.